Hey grade 9s, in this video we're going to be looking at describing increasing patterns. So here we go. Um, we use pattern rules to help us identify sequences and patterns that repeat themselves. This particularly comes into play when we're dealing with high numbers of positions. As you can see here on this picture, we only go up to about a fourth position. But what about if you were seeking a pattern or a trend here that would require you to solve 155th position? Okay, that would be a lot of counting if you had to do that manually. So we come up with formulas to help us do that. You'll also see formulas and pattern rules in things like mortgage and interest rates and things like that. When you go to finance a car, they use formulas um, to determine, example, how much a car would cost based on a financing rate over a certain amount of months or years. And you would plug in that number of months into the formula uh, and the interest rate and everything else would stay the same. Any down payment money would be a constant number. Um, so it has lots of practical uses. So let's look at this a little more closely. So a pattern, when we're talking about increasing patterns specifically, um, we often use a formula that looks kind of like this. So total equals constant plus the multiplier times position number. Now the constant is something that never changes. It's always the same, okay? Um, the position number, of course, is what position are we looking at here? How many months is the car going to be financed for? For 4 months, for 12 months, for 2 years, which is 24 months, or 36 months. Um, and we can calculate our total costs, for example, of financing by changing the number of months. Okay. Now the multiplier would be basically the cost of the car, for example. Okay, in this case, we're looking at number of tiles. All right, so let's look at this a little more closely. When we look at these patterns, position 1, position 2, 3, 4, and so on, we see that it goes up by 3 each time. Okay, we went up 3 here. This one, we went 3 and another 3, and so on and so on and so on. Now, what remained the same? Well, these 5 tiles stayed along the bottom. So these are referred to as our constants, okay? So no matter what position number you're in, you're always going to be adding a constant, okay? So the constant here is 5. Now, the number of tiles we have are going to be dependent on what position they're in. Fourth position is going to have more tiles than third position, okay? Now it always increases by 3. 3, 6, 9, 12. And it's always going to have plus 5 to get the total number of tiles. So our pattern rule is going to be like this. Well, it increases by 3 each time. Okay, so that's going to be our multiplier. Now, what position is it in? Well, this is position 2. Okay, so 3 times uh, my multiplier, or sorry, 3 times my position number, which is 2, plus my constant, which is 5, is going to give me my total number of tiles. And if I plug that into the formula here, I'm still going to have 5 plus 3 times my position number is 2. And when I work this out, 3 times 2 is 6. 6 plus 5 is 11. And of course you can double check here and you'll see that I have 11 tiles remaining. Okay, so this is my pattern rule. The total number of tiles equals the constant, 5, plus 3, my multiplier, times my position number. Okay, so this number, uh, your number of tiles is going to change, obviously, dependent on your position number. As it goes up and increases, your number of tiles is also going to increase. Okay, so let's look at one more example on increasing patterns. So this question says, and this is from page 107 in your book, complete the table for the first 3 positions. All right, so let's look at our positions and what do you notice about the pattern? Well, I can see that my smiley faces here never change, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in each picture. Okay, so number of circles with happy faces, it's always going to be 5. So 5 is my what? Well, my constant. Okay, that answers the next question. What is the constant in the pattern? 5. Number of gray circles in position 1, okay, is going to be equal to 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that gives us a total number of circles in position 1 of 9. Now, what do you notice about position 2? Well, we've increased by 4 again, because now we're at 8. 8 and 5 gives us 13. And again, my constant in position 3 is the same at 5. The number of gray circles is 4 times 3, which is 12. So we've increased by another 4 here. And 12 and 5 gives me 17. Okay, so what's my multiplier going to be? Question CS. Well, my multiplier is how many circles did it go up each time? And I can see that each time it went up by 4. Okay? So my multiplier is going to be 4. Okay, so for position 4, I know that my constant is going to remain the same. The number of gray circles is going to increase by 4, so 12 and 4 is 16, giving me a total of 21. Okay, now what about if I should write a pattern rule for this? Okay, well, I would say the number of tiles equals um, my multiplier, which is how many it increases, 4, multiplied by my position number, P, plus my constant, which is 5. Okay, so if I wanted to get position 10, I would just plug in 10 here for P. 4 times 10 gives me 40, plus 5 gives me 45 in position 10. Okay, and that's it for this week, guys. If you need any more help, come see me and I will gladly help you out. Other than that, have a great week and good luck on your quiz.